infrastructure. So what does data center do? Why do we need data centers? So I mean, at least let's highlight the key points that we need to identify. So the basic behind uh, any digital transformation is uh, a backbone infrastructure. So a backbone infrastructure from a data center point of view is what we are trying to bring into this market. We can talk of transformation in digital health and digital banking, digital government services. All of them require compute and connectivity. So data centers are meant to host those things and then give those services to our customers. So I mean, digital infrastructure transformation is rethinking. I mean, we need to rethink the way we think of technology. So I mean, we will see later on also in how the banking sector or the financial sector have been transforming. So, digital transformation is rethinking the way we use technology in a way that fits into the change and transformation and the evolution in our lifestyles. So, it's fundamentally it's about changing our business model, changing the way we do things, and changing the way we give services to our customers. So, what does data centers use, and what is the critical importance of data centers for businesses? For digital transformation to happen, the first thing is that when we digitize things, we create a lot of data. So, those data need to be first stored, and second, they need to be secured, and then they need to be connected so that whosoever is going to use the services at the other end will be able to run those data easily. And the other one is that when we go digital and then when you are transforming it to digitization, there comes a risk. So that has to be secured. So one of the things that as data centers do is that we make sure that the data is physically secured in the most advanced way, like in any other countries. So physical security is what we offer also in the digital transformation arena. The other one is uninterrupted service and performance. So if we have got a backbone of strong data center and then a strong compute at the back of your main system and services, you mean your services will be higher and better, efficient, and they will not be interrupted. And then I will not tell anyone in this room, what it means to have data interruptions, whether it is with, government services or whether it's banks or whether your mobile applications or everything. So service efficiency and performance comes with a backbone and strong infrastructure, which is stronger and qualified state-of-the-art data centers. And the other thing that we need to do is, although everybody will digitize, but when we digitize, some businesses will be startups and some businesses are the ones which are advanced. So all of us do not put money in the same way. So the amount of investment that everybody puts depends on the level of which the business is evolving. So one of the things that we provide is flexibility and scalability because in a digital transformation arena, everything changes. So we are flexible enough to fit into a startup business or a bigger business or even a government data in a way that fits everybody's business. Because the whole thing behind data center services is making sure that our customers get the right confidence and the right comfort in getting their services delivered to their end customers. So the other thing is scalability. When data centers run a business by themselves, you don't have to invest too much money at cost. So you can start with a small money and then finally we can grow as the business grows with them. So one of the things we provide is scalability. Small business can take or even a global hyperscalers can also do. So I'm sure most of you must have known that in the US, for example, so much of the big companies run already 80% of their main businesses in a co-location environment because they need to focus and put a lot of money in their services rather than a backbone company. So backbone bigger companies like Equinox and others are running multinational data centers in all over the places and try to do. So what Raxio is trying to do is to bring in that experience to the African experience by running data centers all across Africa and provide a backup, a backbone and reliable, data center services to customers. So the importance of data centers, as I said, is the other one is enhanced customer services. So you have got fast internet, fast services, fast systems. Make sure that your customers remain happy. And the other one is we have been talking yesterday. We say AI, AI. Normally, in our current platform, one of the things we said is, okay, we're saying about AI is coming. We need to be ready. But our data centers ready to run AI? Normally AIs require a lot of data and kilowatts and power consumption in a per rack level. So we design our data centers in a way that we are future proof. So whenever any company that's running its data centers currently wants to move into AI, we make sure that we are ready for them to accommodate that capacity because it requires higher number of kilowatts per rack. I don't want to go to technical, but it requires a different setup. When we say AI, we need to make sure that we have the right infrastructure behind it. So, okay, we say that digital transformation comes with, with data centers. So, and we know that data centers are important for our businesses. Now the issue comes, how do we have a data center? Do we need to build them or do we need to collocate with a company? So when companies normally do, opt to collocate with a company, they are saving huge amount of initial capital with their business. So the collocation business in general has expanded in the world in over, civilized world is because it saves a lot of capital. We wanted to save a lot of capital to companies. Their hard-earned foreign currency should not be invested on something where somebody can do it. So you can build and you can have collocate. If you have to build, you have to input a lot of capital investment, and you're not going to use the entire capacity because when businesses do their infrastructure, they do two things at a minimum. One is covering their current capacity, and the other one is getting ready for future expansion. So that is the element where the critical part of co-location comes to play. If you're thinking of going further and expanding, then the expansion comes at a cost. So you need to put money in a capacity that you're going to use a future. And that money is going to get tied up until the business reach there. So one of the good things about co-location is you'll pay as you grow. Since you will pay as you grow, your capital will be utilized in a much more efficient way. So at the end of the day, we are creating an ecosystem that makes it easier for businesses to do their business without putting too much money. That is the idea. So speaking into a more specific cases with collocation, uh, one is, we built a model called total cost of ownership. What will happen when businesses build their own cases? Of course, you own a data center, you'll have your own data near to you or on your premises. That gives comfort, but it will come at a cost. Because normally, according to our studies, normally it costs two times um, the the capital to build a data center than to collocate over a period of 10 years. I see institutions having as large as or equally as bigger departments in IT and IT infrastructure than their core businesses. That end up because you put a lot of capital, you need to run the data center. So the capitals, the capex and the opex that you put into data centers are nearly two times expensive. So what benefit do you get as a business if you have to invest two times your business in order to run a data center? That's the other issue. But when you go to collocate, the advantage is you have faster adaptability because our focus is in business on data centers. We make sure that businesses are there in their way. That's one. The other one is the time to market. So in countries like Ethiopia, how much time does it take to build a data center? You need to put out, RFP, put, equipment, bids, build, import. All that things are going to delay your to get time to market. So the amount of money that you lose by the delay is something that we will be ready to compensate for by putting a small amount of money and then grow your business as your capacity grows. And the other one is we ensure that we give you a business continuity. So for every customer that wants to work with us, be it the public sector or private or any company, we sign SLAs. We warrant that the business is going to run uptime according to a tier 3 standard, which is 99.982% of the time your system is up. So one of the things we do is we give assurance and business continuity, and then businesses can relax and focus on their case. So you have lower security in terms of risk because we have stronger physical security. We have more connectivity because we are carrier neutral. We have all types of connections with redundant connectivities, and we have all the power required, including backup power and real direct linked into grid powers. For all those things, we give you a relief. So the whole idea behind it is creating a system and a robust backbone that gives you confidence to run. And the other one is you have less management time. As I've told you, businesses are having, huge departments of IT, which we can use the user and the talent into something that could enhance the business in terms of the software line. The other one is the operational expenditure. Owning and running a data center is not an easy task. It requires a lot of operational expenses. So the TCOs are the total cost of ownership is made, how much money it will cost you as capex and opex a period of time, apart from the time and the energy that the business is going to lose. So the issue is that you run a business, you are okay with it, you have the equipment, you can immediately start a business. That makes things easier. The other one is physical security. In data centers, one of the standard things is making sure that security is a standard. So we have an 8 layer of security for a customer to get his data accessed. When we talk of security, one thing we should be careful is in a data center environment, physical security is a critical one. Cyber security will always be an issue for a company. When we talk of physical security, we are talking from a data center perspective. We're not undermining cybersecurity because businesses we know that they will focus on their cybersecurity. So the other one is um, maintenance. Like businesses, one of the reasons for downtime most of the time is downtime. Maintenance. Your generator might get faulty. Your UPS might get worse. There might be a cutoff in one of your product lines. You don't need to worry on that because globally standardized robust and modern infrastructure is built, and you give all the headache to us, and then we'll take care of it. That's the other issue. The other one is adaptability. When you and if a company runs, its data center with us, and all of a sudden they wanted to adapt, an AI powered servers, so they don't have to think, what will we should be doing. We are future ready and we take experiences from global experience and made sure that Ethiopia is also ready for that type of transformation. So we are making ready and getting ready for our companies to adapt into changes whenever they want. We want to implement AI, we are ready AI because in one rack we can run 20 kilowatt high density power requirements can be run easily. So in terms of all those points that are coming, you know, um, we are a clear winner. The cost benefit analysis clearly outweighs that. It's easier for businesses to collocate than to build. So we know data centers are important. We know digitization cannot happen without strong, robust backbone of data centers. And then if we need data centers, are we going to build them or are we going to collocate? So the idea behind this workshop is telling everyone that a co-location with a standard service is ready. And then that gives you flexibility. With all the investments being taken care of by us, we give uptime up to 99.982%. We give optimized and much longer installation, for in individual needs, whatever we need, because we have services like smart hands, we have services like remote hands. So businesses can focus on their business and we can support them in anything that we want. And then the other one is all the operational expenses are covered by a third party. When we do a colocation, the data center company will take care of all the operational expenses. And for two things, one is your data is protected, your equipment is protected and run by certified professionals. And the other one is you reduce your cost. And there we make sure that one of the things we also align is we enable companies to become sustainable because we build data centers that are sustainable and environmentally responsive. Uh, I didn't want to go technical, but one of the cooling, one of the things in data center is power, connectivity, and cooling. So the cooling technology that we use, for example, in Raxio, is it's one of a kind in the region, not only in the region that we use a free cooling. We are enjoying the Ethiopian weather of a weather as low as 15 degrees to 18 degrees during the nighttime. Then we're going to use a free cooling, a technology that takes the environment as it is and cool your equipment without using power and without using artificial DX cooling systems, which are refrigerants. So that those are the things that we bring in also as a value to the business. And the other one is, bulk buying. When you run a data center, you need to buy the UPS, you need to buy the generators, all those things. You will spend your money only on servers and storage devices, and the others will be taken care of by the company where you collocate your devices. So in general, when companies do a collocation, we give them a tailored solution, so what you will achieve is you'll have a reduced total cost of ownership over a period of time. And the other one is you will redirect your capital into the core business. You need to buy more software licenses, improve staff training, development, and product development, research and development. That's where companies need to spend money, and we are going to take care of the other. And the other issue is improve service delivery because we give you a reliable service. So this is the general background in terms of collocation and businesses in general. So what do we have to offer to specific businesses? And then we start with public sector. Like as Ethiopian government has introduced digital transformation agenda, and that requires transforming so much of the public services. So transformation initiatives stronger in the state of the art data centers. So, the hard-earned and the borrowed money in terms of FX for this country will be invested on business development and improving services and softwares. But the backup fund for our infrastructure will be taken care of by us. That's one value proposition that will bring into the service sector. So, what does it mean? It will, like government basically is public sectors are normally service providers. So they will improve their service efficiency, and then they will keep their data sovereignty because public data is normally more secured. And then some of the data might not need to be run on a cloud, or even if it's run on a cloud, the storage needs to be within Ethiopia, and we make sure that that happens. The other one is there are so many, e-government initiatives. There is e-government, there is e-finance, there is e-passport, the smart traffic systems. All these things need huge data and huge infrastructure, and then the public doesn't have to spend money on capex or data centers. We are going to take care of them. And the other one is economic development. Because with advanced technologies and then adoption of digital infrastructure comes a modern business. And then we will drive technological initiatives. I've seen so many young individuals creating softwares and solutions and the development of fintechs. So those are initiatives that rely on a backbone that happens on a data center context. So specific areas that we can do on is like, for example, for businesses, normal we provide, as I said, disaster recovery. Okay, business, we have, data center is not something we invented. It has been there. Companies and businesses in public sector have data centers. But now the reliance and the transformation to digitization requires that you need to have sufficient backup. So one of the things we do is for existing infrastructure, we give a disaster recovery line. What happens to your existing data center? And then we'll give you a DR. And the existing of DR ensures business continuity. The other one is skill development and employment. What we do is when we run, for example, Raxio data center is run by qualified, certified engineers, all Ethiopians. So we make sure that we create a skill transfer. It's a global company, but we make sure that every business that we run is done by Ethiopians who are certified. So we will create more skill development and knowledge transfer into that. And the other one is we support governments and committed in businesses in leveraging their digital capacities. What are some of the use cases, for the public sector? Just to pick some of them. One of is this for startups, for example. We have been saying, the last 1 year, like startups, coding, and everything has been increasing. So where are we going to run those systems? Where are the integrators going to put their equipment? So with the developments in startups, we make sure that there is a scalable and flexible model that can accommodate all businesses. That's one. The other one is we enable public sector to become more accessible, more efficient, and then more transparent. And you can see, I'm sure most of us have experienced the change in the land management, for example. That's very transparent. You do only everything from your license. You must have seen the trade license authorities from Ministry of Trade. So you can see how things are changing. And those services need to be backed by strong data centers in supporting infrastructure. Uh, we've seen changes in the healthcare. There are healthcare systems and initiatives with telemedicine where we're going to register everybody customers centrally, like in the case of other countries where if I go to any healthcare and then with my social security number or with my ID, everybody can find the health status of mine. It shouldn't be stayed only on somebody's storage, with cards and everything. So that is changing, and then those requires huge storage devices and strong computing power, and we're doing that. And for the financial sector, I'll come in more detail, but the financial sector is the most transforming one. We have recently seen that Ethiopia has opened up a financial sector. When these financial institutions come, they don't want to spend huge capital expenditure. They need to make sure that we have reliable and ready infrastructure to run their systems because they run a digital banking. So we are getting ready for that change, making the opening up of the sector much more easier. In the agricultural sector, you've seen e-climate sciences, in drone technologies. All these require strong data centers. So on on agri-tech solutions, we're going to run a lot of data analytics. The country is registering, the entire farmland in the country. Ministry of Agriculture has this initiative of registering huge amount of land. So whenever this data is stored, either they will keep the DR with us, or they can run the main data center with us and then keep the service to the health sector. You've seen in education now, AI is becoming, AI-driven learning, e-learning, supports, from remote analysis coming. There are distance learning, where people can have access, e-library, e-research systems. All these things require strong data center and strong. There was also a discussion on smart city. Smart city connectivity. All these things require data centers, and we are here to support that. We have heard also that a new e-passport system is also established. So, I mean, all these initiatives, the public sector will not be putting a lot of money on infrastructure. We will take care of the data center data, and then that could be stored in a private infrastructure and run the other types in all other areas. You've seen the development with Alipay, Alipay, Alibaba, e-commerce, the small things that we start in telegrams and everything should grow into a formal and strong e-commerce platform. And one of the things with e-commerce is you can never afford to have a downtime or a system interruption. And that has to be supported by strong infrastructure and backup like ours. So this is what we can do to the public sector and then to the banks. When we come to the financial service industries, data centers are mission critical. Without a strong and then reliable data centers, banks cannot guarantee that they will use businesses to support them. What are the key areas that we'll be supporting? One is DR. You know, there is a compliance by the central bank that banks need to have a disaster recovery when everything happens to their system. So if banks have got their data centers, we are here to support them with DR. That's one area that we're supporting. The other one is microfinance institutions, small intakes are now required to have a core banking system. They cannot do it, even if they are small, they cannot do it in a manual system like they do. Then we are getting ready to support them. And then one of the things is by establishing, tier certified data center like ours, we are enabling banks to become compliant with PSI DSS, requirements, because payment platforms require that you have that security standard to do, and we enable banks to be that compliant in terms of PSI requirements. The other one is enhanced security. The system is secured 100%. We have surveillance. We have all layers of security, which is also done by. We have also internal protocols where data and access, physical access to a data hall is limited. And the other one is we will create alignment with fintech innovations, because a different model requires a different setup of infrastructure at the back. And then one of the things we said is we built a very big, massive data center, but the models are specific to go into a specific even startup model, all the way to bigger banks that can run the other one. The other one is AI and big data analytics. And now every bank we're doing machine learning, we're doing AI, but those need to be implemented in the country. We're talking about them, then it has to come. And it seems a new phenomena, but that's not the case. Like if you look into the case of, Bank of America, I'm just going to give one example. It has been in 1990, in 2018, which is 7 years ago, that the Bank of America has implemented, an AI-enabled financial assistant. And so it is already a thing that has been going for 7 years. So that efficiency has created a lot of things. It's a kind of call center where customers put their records. So it has a voice recognition system. It will run through a backup data that was running entire systems and support services. And you can imagine that with AI-driven uh, financial assistant, American Bank of America now runs 1.5 million transaction responses per day through AI-driven data centers. That's what it means to have a stronger AI-driven backup center means. So this requires a lot of compute, a lot of data, and a lot of connectivity. That's what we are saying, so. What do they do that? By investing their money on AI, by investing money there on research and development, the bank was able to secure a 19% increase on their revenue. One is they are reducing costs with the huge, call center mechanisms, but then now they are doing it. You can you can check the Erica part on there. So this is the result of a banking transformation, where we reached an era where it becomes banking 4.0. So banks have transformed from 1472, it goes as high as 15th century, all the way to the current one. Now we reached into an area where banking is becoming 4.0. So the transformation from the first level all the way to the level of bank point for twin, it says that banking everywhere and never at a bank. Like you can bank everywhere, but you will never go at a bank. So we need to move into an area where everything is becoming digital. So the services it has to be customer centric. It has to be all digital based on our devices, on mobile apparatus. And then it has to be uh, given because it's globally tested with the least transaction fees. And then also you reduce huge operational costs because you're giving to data. And then one of the advantages is this artificial intelligence. So if you try to search something on Alibaba, the next thing you know is all similar products keep pumping up on your email or everything. These are all AI driven cases. We need to reach to that level, and that requires strong and reliable data centers. What does it mean? When in a bank where you rely on digital banking, you need to make sure that those services are uh, attended. The thing is, for example, according to Uptime, this is an independent institute globally that certifies data centers. More than 60% of downtimes relate to data center related issues globally. So by having a co-location, you're making sure that you're reducing your downtime by 60%. All the other factors contribute a little bit, but data center related cases contribute more than 60%. So this is this all that you can say about data centers. So who are we and why are we saying this? So Raxio. So we are a Pan-African a tier 3 certified data centers. We are exclusively working for co-location services. Our core business is making sure that companies and businesses have a co-location service. And then one of the things that we have is one is we are a tier 3 certified facility. According to Uptime, the company that does the research, which I just presented, they go and check that you have a robust and modern state-of-the-art infrastructure that warrants 99.982% uptime to businesses. So we are certified with that. We are carrier neutral. We take connectivities from all the available ISPs in the country. We are scalable. We can support a small minimum startup up to as high as big companies, multinationals that we work even in other regions. And then we have a very high security and reliable security. I'll try to put a link where you will register for a tour and you'll see how the security and the physical security is strong in that line. And the other one is sustainability. As we've told you, one of the keys in a data center is environmental sustainability. We are taking advantage of the Ethiopian weather using free cooling technology. That's happening to the country for the first time. And as you know, data centers are home of internet. So we are a connectivity hub. We have the most advanced cross connect capabilities. Whenever business happen, we make sure that cross connects are there. We ensure your operational excellence, and then we ensure their optimal location. So Raxio currently operates in 7 African countries: in Uganda, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Ivory Coast, DRC, Angola, in Tanzania. So we try to reach from east, west, and then to the south, working on the areas. We have specialized in building and operating data centers. So I'm going to run a very short, quick video. Thank you very much for your patience. Um, I know I've been boring, so thank you for your patience. Uh, can you go to the last slide? Yeah. So we have a QR code to scan, and then you can also have our flyers to do. Now leave the floor. We have some 20 minutes for question and answers. So I've been talking about a lot of things, but I might not be explaining everything. So I'll leave the floor to question.
Fantastic. We have a good 15 minutes for Q&A. So anyone have questions, comments, suggestions? Yeah, fantastic. Here's one.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Salma Shaban, and I'm from the Kenya Internet Exchange Point. Our main business is to keep the local traffic local. You have done a good job. I was at your launch, DRC Congo, and I toured your data center, and I'd like to recommend you for the good job you guys are doing. I have a question, and my question is, being that we deal with very many internet service providers, the main question we get when we are trying to introduce them to a new data center is, what is the main thing they do to make sure that they try and stop the risk of cyber attacks at the data centers? And the other issue is about data protection. How do you make sure that the data is secured? Because most of the time you get people, government officials, or anything, if anything is happening around the country that is causing a stir, the first thing they would do is maybe approach the data centers to try and see how can we stop this thing in the internet that is going around. So how do you make sure that their data is protected? Thank you.
One more question here.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Tegust. I would like to emphasize, and I would like to ask you a question, and I want you to elaborate a little bit. As a cloud service provider and as a partner of Raxio, I would like the audience to know the difference between cloud service and co-location. If you may explain, please. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, one in the corner there, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Johannes Tasfaye. I'm the Business Development Manager. Let me just start off by complimenting the great work that you did. I've seen the video yesterday as well, and also I had the opportunity to see it from afar. And data centers are very much requirement in this country. We at Grant Thornton are a professional service providing company. One of the services that we provide is outsourcing, specifically BPOs. So we are in dire need of data centers such as yourself. And my question would be, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be a bit technical, but the cooling system that you use, you said it's a free cooling. So if I'm not mistaken, you just use the weather, the air, and no artificial cooling system. So the question which I'll be directing to would be, wouldn't that affect if overheating were to happen, which is quite frequent according to my understanding in this kind of data center businesses? Wouldn't that affect the data that you would be storing? That's my first question. And my second question would be, as you know, business process outsourcing is a very price sensitive business. So I'm pretty sure you would have a backup source to cool the systems. Wouldn't that affect the overhead costs of our clients and also ourselves and our profit margins?
So great. You got 4 questions there. Security, co-location, energy, and backup. So go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Starting with security, as you said, one of the things that we put in our contracts is to give customers guarantee that we secure their facilities. Data centers are one of the most secured facilities. So secured is in a way that we make sure that physical security happens. So to be more specific with you, I will try to put a kind of Raxio level cyber security from our systems point of view, because one of the things we provide to customers is that we'll give you a kind of virtual data center. Most of you might know DSIM. So the data center infrastructure management, for example, is an open platform that we give customers to monitor their data center from a remote line. So with that, we have also access to cyber risk. So we have a cyber security at corporate level in our systems level, but cyber security will remain to be the duty of the company maintaining the data. We ensure physical security. So we make sure that access is restricted even within the company and also outside of the company. And then we have several layers of security that we give for a customer, for a person to reach into your data. They need to pass through 8 layers of security. So the eighth layer is something, like when banks, for example, or public institutions might need more level of security. And we create a caged environment where we will seal a specific area for your data center, for your data, and then you'll have a different biometric access accessible by only you, with a specific remotely manageable camera access for yourself. So we give the assurance at the same time on the services. So for anyone to pass through all several layers of security, they need to pass through a robust system interruptions, which are physical locked, which are going to be biometric, a card system, plus all the other areas that we need to determine the physical. So we ensure physical security. And one of the things also that, uptime in all other institutions, including PSI, DSS, is that making sure that physical security is reliable. In the end, we are up to that. So the second question is around, the clarity around cloud versus co-location. This is a very normally common misunderstanding that we receive. So when we receive a lead from a system or anyone, most of the time people confuse cloud with co-location. So the difference between cloud and co-location is, in a cloud environment, you run your systems in a virtual system that is run by an independent party. But in a co-location, you will physically put your own equipment and you run it by yourself. So for customers to have to give to Raxio, they need to come with their own equipment. So we give a hosting service to their equipment. We don't do cloud businesses. So, cloud businesses such as yourself can take a co-location space with us and provide a virtual uh, platform or a cloud service to their clients. So we are one layer before a cloud. We make sure that customers have their own equipment, logged and saved, and then run and connected to run a data center. But a cloud business is something that you can run. For example, without co-locating with Raxio, people are using still cloud. But if you are using a co-location, you need to run the system with your own servers and cloud storage. Did I answer it? Or you want to explain further? Uh, the cooling system, I just keep, saying that we always say we are sustainable. Where did the critical sustainable element come from is the environment. So we're trying to, like the technology, the cooling technology we use is called IAC. It's called indirect adiabatic cooling. So it's a cooling system that works in 3 phases. What is when the ambient temperature is very low, it will take the ambient temperature, clean it, and with an heat exchange system, it will flow a clean and cool air to the system. So one thing we guarantee to customers when you sign SLAs, we maintain your equipment to a degree between X percentage to X percent degree. So that's an SLA we sign. We cannot compromise that. One of the things we provide as a customer is uptime, and the other one is cooling. we make sure that your equipment is cooled at X level of maintenance. If you want 18 degrees, the normal standard is between 18 to 24 degrees centigrade. We make sure that the entire data center is cooled at that level. And through our virtual data center infrastructure management systems, we also give you the access to monitor whether the data center is cooled at that level or not. So the reason I said that we use indirect adiabatic cooling is, in terms of cost, you mentioned about costs, for example. When we use indirect adiabatic cooling and free cooling, that means we are using less energy and less, gas to cool the data center during those times where the ambient temperature is as low as 15 degrees, for example. So that gives us a huge cost saving. Data center is a power business. If you save power, you save cost. Because if I have to spend more cost, I have to transfer it to the cloud. But now that we are efficient, we are reducing costs so that it becomes sustainable to you to spend time with us. So we ensure that your equipment is cooled to a certain level, and we use that with an advanced technology that takes 3 levels of cooling. So we treat our water. We have a ground borehole water. We treat a water system that keeps the cooling system clean, and then we use a sprinkled water to run it during the daytime. We use free cooling during the nighttime. We use DEX cooling during hot times. So that is an intelligent system that transforms between the ambient temperature and try to manage it. That will cost huge amount of power, and that is also a cost saving to the cloud.
Thanks, Digol. Any more questions? We can take one last question before we break for lunch. Yes, I can see a hand over there.
Okay, thank you. My name is Yabarakat Takar. I'm software developer. And what kind of mechanism are you using to reduce the downtime time of the infrastructure losses in Africa? That the data centers sometimes lose the data with it.
Great. That's the last question. Technology for backup. Yeah, that was it.
So I can answer. Okay. So how do you make sure that downtime doesn't happen? Is as the way we built a data center. So the Uptime Institute, when they wanted to certify you are a tier 3 data center, they make sure that you have all the reliable infrastructure in place to make sure that you are signing for data uptime. For example, our Ugandan facility has been running for 3 years, where we ensured 100% uptime the entire 3 years. So that's a type of thing. So how do you ensure uptime? Uptime comes from system uptime requires one is power. There will be no power disconnection. We have very efficient. Our power basically is connected directly to the grid. We don't share power with anyone. That's huge investment that we put because we make sure that there is no interaction or disconnection, and any issue between the grid and to our data center. So we have a direct access to a grid. We use 2 grid accesses coming from 2 different sources. So everything to the power is technically redundant. We use 2 grid power. We use 2 generators. We use 2 UPS systems that is advanced that can run entire data center with 800 racks for about 10 minutes. With a small capacity, it can run hours. So we use power filtration systems. So all these things are the things. We just do a twin requirement for everything. So, for example, one of the generators you have seen is 1,875 kVA capacity that can run continuously. So it's not just a backup generator. They are called them data center enabled generators. If there is a power outage in the country for 1 month or for 1 year, it can continuously run for 1 year without any problem. So it has sufficient fuel capacity, which we store as high as 60,000 liters, even for 1 day. So we can run the generators continuously. The other backup generator can run also another for one year interchangeably, covering the whole thing and the whole load within a data center. So you have two power grids direct coming from the grid directly. We have two generators that can support them. We have a redundant switch system that can run between the smarts. So every power gets two redundant power, making sure that if one fails, one runs continuously. So the layer of types of power that we create and the layer of type that how they run concurrently make sure that nothing happens. So one of the advantages, we designed the data center in a way that it is concurrently maintainable. While you run a data center, you can run the entire part of the other line because this one can convert and then run the data center without any problem. So it is a twin power supply that comes to each individual equipment that is backed by a power, a UPS, and also a grid.
Thanks, Degol, for a fantastic workshop. Clearly, you provoked a lot of good questions from the audience, which means
Yeah.
they found your material very appealing. I guess you and your colleagues will be around till the end of the day, right? In case people have
Yes, yeah.
further
Yeah, I mean,
questions.
we are at the door. I'm also here. I'm happy to have any questions online, more technical or anything. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
Once again, thanks, Degol, for your workshop. Thank you also yesterday for the fireside chat we had yesterday. That was a very good teaser for all that you presented over here today. With that, we break for lunch now. We've got 5 fantastic sessions after lunch, one on diversity, one on financial inclusion, as well as sessions on startup